I picked up this monitor from Lenovo a couple days ago, and it actually arrived pretty quick here in Canada. And I got it to replace the Samsung 27-inch that I did a review on a few days ago. That was a good screen in terms of color, but the resolution 1080p at 27 inches based on my viewing angles, it just wasn't great, and I was getting a lot of issues with just like very large kind of bezels on websites and the programs that I use, and the font was a little bit blurry. So anyways, I got this for a really good price. This is the price today, I guess, in the US, $237, and in Canada it's $317. I actually paid I think $229 or $230 Canadian, somewhere around there, $230 Canadian, which is an excellent price for what it is. So it's the Lenovo L27q-30, and it's a 27-inch IPS monitor. I went with this because it's a 1440p monitor. So having that extra, basically I call it like real estate. You just have more room on the screen. So a lot of the menu bars are smaller, start menu smaller. Like this is Brave browser or whatever you use is going to be a bit smaller on top. So most of your software is going to be the same. You're going to have less large bezels on it. Another important thing is that everything looks crisper, especially in terms of text. And I look at text all day when I'm writing and doing whatever it is that I do. So it does help quite a bit. If you're sitting back really far from the screen, the font can actually in some cases be small, like the ones that are built in, but a lot of times you can scale that with Windows anyways. So let's just go over some of the specs here. So it doesn't have a lot of I/O. It has an HDMI port and it has a display port out, so you can use either of those. No USB-C. They do have an option for the same screen size that has USB-C out, but it actually doesn't have a 1440p, which is kind of odd, but whatever. So it's a 350, there's the brightness there, you can see nothing special. It does have 99% sRGB, which is actually really nice. It's actually on that setting right now. So again, I'm recording this on an iPhone, which is not going to be ideal, obviously. I'll just cut in some of these other settings. It's a really useful website, displayspecifications.com. If you want to get really into the specifics of a display, you can actually see who makes the panels and this kind of thing too. But yeah, there's some more good info in here. Aspect ratio, obviously. Oh, I didn't go over that. It's a 16:9 aspect ratio, which is fine. But you can see like the contrast ratio. This is just 1000:1. That dynamic setting that I could set up will change that a little bit, so you get more fluctuating contrast ratio. And this is a 75 hertz refresh rate, and it is equipped with FreeSync, AMD FreeSync. So it's not an actual gaming monitor, like those will be all spec'd out at a minimum of 120 hertz or whatever, but it is a gaming monitor. Really, you could use it just as well as most of them. If you're a competitive FPS player, okay, maybe not, but yeah, it has really good settings overall. Let's load up this like weird video from Sony. It's a little bit bright in this room, so it's not going to look absolutely as perfect as it would in a very dark room, but this screen looks marvelous. Okay, let's stop there. And we'll go through some of the settings real quick. So there are some different settings in here, nothing crazy. I don't know if you can see that. Yes, you can. So you can change if you want to use HDMI or display port, so I guess you could have it set up to 2 different machines you could swap, which is cool. Let's go back though. So in terms of the actual display, you can change the settings there. This is pretty standard stuff. You can go in and you can set it to game, which gives it a little bit more vividness. Web. And it does change the temperature of the image, as well as like the hue, I guess I'd say, or the tint. So I guess I'll leave it standard for now. Okay. Overdrive. Oh, I don't even know what that is. I haven't seen that. Overdrive. I think this I'll have to check, but I think this has to do with the refresh rate. I believe that has to do with the refresh rate. Yeah, interesting. So you can go in here and you can change I guess it came neutral like that. You can give it like a bluish tint, which when you're actually not in a video, it's really blue. I don't like it at all. This is neutral. This is how it actually came. You can set it to a reddish tint. I guess I don't even know if the iPhone's picking that up, but it does give it a little bit of a reddish tint, which I guess would be easier on the eyes. Or you can set it to sRGB, which is actually good for what I do, because that color does matter. So I actually like that. That's really cool. So leave that. There's other settings you can do in here with, the colors. You can change low blue if you want, late at night, so you could just swap that on. If you're staring at your screen and it's, midnight and you're going to go to bed in a bit, it's, there's some research showing that blue light affects sleeping patterns. Pretty good research, actually. So that's a nice feature there. Yeah, so I mean, nothing crazy. There we go. You can go in here, change, give it DCR mode if you want, which messes around with the contrast. So it, depending on what's actually on the screen, it will modify the contrast a little bit. So that's pretty good. Let's leave that on for now since it's a feature. And, let's look at this for a sec. I'm going to actually open up the window in the middle of this. We'll go back a bit so you can see, what it becomes when we're in a bright room. So this room is quite bright right now, like very, very bright. So there's a little bit of glare on the side there, based on the the windows to the right, which I can see in person. It's worse on the camera, but I can see it in person. But it's really not that bad. It's not a glossy screen, so the sun is actually coming directly in the window on the screen from that side, more or less. So.
Yet filled with fresh revelations. A young planet.
Okay, so I'll just bring the camera back. We can have a look at the screen itself. So it has an interesting kind of bezel that they set up here. So let's go like that. And you can actually see here where the bezel is. Like, that's the actual plastic. It's a very small bezel. But then there's kind of like a dead space in there. So I'll bring the mouse up and you can see it actually maxes out there. So it doesn't have plastic bezel. That's actually like, part of the screen there. But yeah, that's where the actual image ends. So whatever, I mean, it's fine. I don't know what the purpose of that is, but the footprint is fine. It's flat. It's not super wobbly, maybe a little bit, but nothing crazy. It wasn't as bad. The Samsung that I bought was very wobbly. I don't like these kind of flat feet though, because first of all, they get super dusty and you can't set anything there. I like the Samsung, how it had kind of the angled one, and I could set my mouse there, for example, and it would, nest in there, but that's, I mean, we're getting picky at that point, but it's pretty thin. Does have a headphone out as well in the back. So, if you have a desktop that's down below and it just doesn't have a accessible audio jack, you can use that too. So let's cut into some gameplay. I'll just do, let's do Outer Worlds again because it has some nice color in it, and we'll see how that looks. Okay, so here we are in the game. Let's check the settings here. Yeah, so we're at 1440p, so we're utilizing the screen to its best capacity. The settings are high, whatever. If you have 1440p resolution in a game, the one issue is that you're going to put a lot more strain on the GPU, so you have to make sure you have a decent GPU, unless this isn't a super demanding game. But I have a 2060 laptop here, so it would be fine either way. But which you'll hear the fans kick up because it's a laptop. So, there's no screen tearing. I'll probably make you puke, sorry, with the motion sick people, but I just wanted to quickly test that. The FreeSync does work. You're not getting screen tearing at all. It actually looks really nice compared to what I had before. This makes a big difference. So. Apparently I'm killing this whole village. Yep, so that's what it looks like to annihilate this village, apparently, on the settlement. But yeah, the colors look marvelous. Again, we're looking at an iPhone, which is it's pretty good, but in person, looking at the screen, it actually looks even better in person. So this screen is, I mean, it looks marvelous for what it is. For that kind of, I mean, I got it for a pretty good price, around $230, $240, which is just a steal at that price. But even at the full price, I mean, if you're looking at around 300 or so, you know, it's still a good price. But if you can get it sub 300, Lenovo always has sales, so don't go crazy. You know, and pay full price for anything at Lenovo. They always have good sales on. But this is a good alternative. You know, if you're looking for a 1440p with, you know, reasonable specs that aren't, you know, game changing, but aren't going to also cost, you know, $500-600 for a game, for, you know, gaming monitor, which is often what you're looking at when you're at a 1440p. I think this is a great solution. You know, I walked into you know, Best Buy and I've looked online, and I find that, you know, your options are really 4K and 1080 for, you know, non-true gaming monitors with, you know, 240 hertz refresh rates and things like that. So if you want to save some money, get an excellent all-rounder screen, I think this is a really good option right here. So yeah, anyways, thanks for watching, and yeah, I might actually play this game now that I have such a nice screen to play it on.